I like, click, subscribe, do all that. It's Netflix time. This show is called Invisible City. Season 1 contains 7 episodes, 35 minutes apiece. It's a science fiction type of show. I usually try to stay away from that type of material, basically because it's very difficult for me to explain what the heck is going on. But I'm gonna try my best, just for you. So here's my take on episode 1 of Invisible City. You got this old hunter that's in the forest, who's with this younger guy who's telling the older guy, don't shoot any animals in the forest unless you're willing to eat it. But he ends up killing this bird anyway. He just looks at him like, what? Then he starts chasing after this guy in the forest, who ends up killing him with a flaming arrow and shit. Yeah, the dude that killed him has a flaming head, like literally his head is on fire. See, look, just a random guy with his head on fire. Man, if you don't get your Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider having ass. Anyway, that old guy, or young guy, was an old man now telling this story to a bunch of kids. And he was telling it to this little girl, who happens to be the daughter of this lady who's helped saving the village. This whole time she's trying to send a video message to her husband, who doesn't get the message up to his eyeballs and work. This guy in the background bumps into her while she's doing her video. Why that's important, I'll explain that later on. So while all that's going on, her daughter, after hearing that story, sees some flames in the forest and she starts going over there to explore. So the fire turns into a big fire and now she's looking for her daughter Luna. She heard she went into the forest, so obviously she's going after her. Her husband Eric finally gets the text messages talking about, this stuff happening in the forest, can't find her daughter, all this other stuff going down. By the time he gets there, he's surprised at what he sees. And I am too, for a lot of different reasons. His wife is dead. What the fuck? She just got introduced into the show and killed right on the spot. Like, what the fuck? Number 1, she ain't had no burn marks on her, so how did she die in the fire? 2, if the fire didn't kill her, who did? So dad looks up and we find out that Luna's still alive as she's staring at her mother laying on the ground. It's crazy. And that's how the show starts. So a slight tidbit. If you ever seen the show Power produced by 50 Cent, the intro credits has this black and white approach and it has artistic colors in it or whatever like that. Artistic expression, if you will. Invisible City credits kind of look like that. You watch the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. So a month later, Eric decides to go back to work. I'm not sure exactly if he's either a policeman or animal wildlife protector or something, maybe both, I don't know. He works with his homegirl and she's making sure he keeps his head together and stuff like that. There's no funny business between them, at least not yet anyway. He comes in angry at the boss because the boss closed the case. He kept telling him it was probably an accidental fire or something like that, but Eric ain't trying to hear that shit. So Lena and Eric are basically living with their grandma now. From time to time, they're all just together. He catches her going through mom's old things, but then when he starts showing it to her, she don't want to see it no more. It's like, you the one pulled it out. Like, guess she wasn't ready to handle all that just yet. In the bathroom, he's seeing visions of her in the mirror. Some guy calls him about some information about the valley, but when he goes to meet up with him, the only person he sees is this homeless man dragging a cart around. So then they leave after that. Then he starts having nightmares about running in the forest and Echo the dolphin and shit. What does that have to do with anything? Then he keeps reflecting over the last video that his wife left him. Then he reflects back on when they used to jog together. So he's over by the ocean. As you can see to the right, the homeless guy is over there. And over to the side, you got a couple of people crowded around this pink dolphin. Just like the one in his dream, right? This chick talking about she gotta get the dolphin up out of there. He turns his head for a second and everybody just disappears and vanishes in the thin air. So it's just him and this pink-nosed dolphin. All of a sudden, she goes to this spot with this red door. This strong guy's in there. And then we had this lady telling her he must not know about the dolphin or something like that. Meanwhile, him and his partner try and get the dolphin in the truck. But then she gets a call about a certain assignment or whatever about the valley. And he's like, no, the fuck that. You're not going to leave me out there. I'm going with you. And then you got this kid here. He'll become real important real quick, trust me. Well, anyway, he feeds this homeless man, meets up with the strong guy who takes his headband. And he's looking at him like, man, what you need me to do, dog? Meanwhile, Eric and his partner head to Tory village. He has a flashback about his wife on the day that she went to Tory village. And he tells her the last thing that he said to his wife was, don't forget your phone. Because she was about to leave her phone on the dresser. And then that was the last thing he was ever able to say to her. Damn. So they get to the spot and all these fish are contaminated. How this happened, I have no idea. And the villagers who live here are pissed off. This guy's talking about equity in homes and trying to buy other houses and live somewhere else happier. There's people here that's been living here for all their lives and they talking about some, man, we need the fish, we need food. Like, we ain't got time for this shit. Eric ends up talking to this guy who knows a lot about the land and he basically says, your wife is an inspiration and all that good stuff. He tries to drop the dolphin off at forensics, but he got stuck. It was too late, so now the dolphin's just stuck in his truck. This kid comes out of nowhere and tells him that his car is leaking because he was checking the inside of his truck or whatever. Just look at that face. You know he up to something. Dad's back home, he's flashbacking again. He reads his daughter a bedtime story. She goes to sleep, kind of. Somehow this dude sneaks in the house and nobody detects him. All he had to do was grab the key and grab the dolphin. But he starts fucking around in the kitchen, playing with towels and drinking the orange juice and all types of silly shit. And of course the daughter wakes up and catches him. He tells her not to say nothing. He trips and his prosthetic leg comes off. And the daughter kicks under the table before Erica come in and find out what she's doing. So he drags her back off the bed. He's halfway asleep, having flashbacks about his wife again. This goofball tripped the alarm, so of course Eric's going to hear it and come back outside. Which he does. But here's the crazy thing. Remember I was supposed to be a dolphin in his trunk? Yeah, well he goes and checks the trunk again, and the dolphin ended up turning human. What the fuck? Then he starts looking at the video again that his wife sent him. Now, remember when I said that she bumped into this dude? So you're looking at this dude here. This dude knew the captain and his ex-wife. So what does all that mean? I have no idea. So this guy returns back to the hive with Shorty right here and the crew. And she looking at him like, yeah, you couldn't get the body, could you? You know he didn't get it. Why you didn't even ask that question? Well, that's another thing I forgot to mention. When he escaped, he turned into a bunch of bugs like a tornado and flew off. How he did that, I have no idea. See, I told you I'm terrible at explaining this science fiction stuff. So anyway, Eric's going back in his truck and he changes his license plate. That's actually pretty smart. He changed it from a 9 to an 8. I've never even seen anybody do that before. That's crazy though. He's had that for a while. What's he got to hide? He goes back out to the valley, drags the body or dolphin or whatever into the forest, and then he calls the police and has an anonymous tip saying there's a body in Cedar Forest. And that's how the episode ends. Even though it kind of threw me in multiple different loops, I'm still kind of intrigued. So I'm going to watch the rest of this and see what's up. And hopefully you do too. Invisible City on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what it is. Slick, DZ, out the easy, best. Ow, big. You got that slogan.